Asterisk at our baby shower, I raised my glass, smiled at my pregnant girlfriend, then handed her a sealed envelope. Congrats to the real father, I said, turning to her coworker. I had a vasectomy last year. Silence. Her mom gasped. Her dad grabbed the letter. She collapsed into a chair. I just sipped champagne and walked out. The day Lexi told me she was pregnant should have been the happiest day of my life. She stood in our kitchen barefoot, holding up a test stick like it was a trophy. Eyes full of tears, breath shaky. I could barely hear what she was saying. We're having a baby. She threw her arms around me. I hugged her. I smiled. I said all the right things. That I loved her, that we'd figure it out, that I was ready. I was lying, because I knew one thing for sure. That baby wasn't mine. 16 months before I met Lexi, I had a vasectomy. No accidents, no slip-ups. I did the whole follow-up thing too. Results were conclusive. Sterile. 0. Sperm count. I hadn't told her. We were dating seriously. Sure, we'd even looked at condos together, but we'd never had the family planning talk. She joked about kids sometimes, in a future tense way. I figured I'd tell her eventually, when the time was right. She took care of that timing herself, and just like that, everything changed. Within an hour, Lexi went from glowing to calculating. She wiped her tears and pulled up Zillow listings on her phone. We need a house, she said, like she was ordering lunch. Somewhere safe, with space for the baby. And we're running out of time. She started scheduling tours that night. I sat there in a daze, pretending to care about school districts and interest rates. While inside, I was doing the math. She was about 9 weeks along. 9 weeks ago. She was at a conference in San Diego. I noticed something weird about that weekend. Her hotel room was under her coworker's name, Drew, her work husband, the guy who commented too much on her Instagram, the one who stayed late at the office with her every week, who brought her coffee, who texted her at 1 a.m. as I joke, yeah, him. I started digging. The pictures from the conference were everywhere. One in particular, Lexi on a rooftop bar, wine in hand, leaning into Drew, way too close, his hand resting on her waist, hers on his knee. If it were any more obvious, it'd be a pregnancy announcement. I didn't confront her. I didn't yell. Just smiled. I told her she was right. We needed to be grown-ups, responsible. We needed a house. She practically skipped into the next open house. She picked out cribs and tile backsplashes and hardwood floor colors. Meanwhile, I was watching, planning, preparing. If she wanted a fantasy, I'd let her build it. I'd even help decorate. But when it all came crashing down, I wanted the entire cast there to witness it. So I waited. Over the next few months, I played the part perfectly. Attentive, supportive, affectionate. I downloaded baby name apps. I bought a copy of What to Expect. I massaged her feet when she faked morning sickness. And I watched Drew. He came around more and more, helping with nursery planning, bringing over nutritional snacks, acting like he was family already. I let him. Because if she wanted a stage, I'd build her one. With a trapdoor. The baby shower became the centerpiece. Lexi's mom was thrilled. Her sister went full Pinterest. There were custom invitations, personalized cookies, matching onesies with Team Baby printed on them. It was going to be massive. 50 guests, a photographer, catered brunch. Lexi kept saying things like, I just want this to be perfect for the baby. No, she wanted the applause, the admiration. She wanted to be center stage, and I was going to give her that. But on my terms. Meanwhile, the house search kicked into overdrive. Her dad got involved. We toured a 4-bedroom colonial out in Hillsfield. Big backyard, fresh kitchen remodel. Lexi wanted it badly. We could raise a whole family here, she said, clutching my arm like a hostage negotiator. Her dad offered to help with the down payment. I told them I needed to talk to the bank again. Interest rates were climbing. Used every delay tactic I knew. Inspections, appraisals, pre-approvals. Each one bought me more time, because I wasn't just stalling. I was collecting. The first piece was a notarized letter from my urologist. It arrived in a plain envelope, sealed tight. Inside was a single page. It listed the date of my vasectomy, the follow-up testing, and a conclusive statement that I was, in the doctor's words, functionally sterile. I stared at it for a long time. I didn't feel relief, or even satisfaction. I felt cold, focused. This wasn't just about cheating. It wasn't even about the baby. It was about how thoroughly she'd tried to manipulate me. The pressure, the calculated emotional theater, the fake tears, and the smug way she kept talking about our future, knowing full well it was built on lies. That's what I couldn't forgive. The next thing I did, I made sure Drew was on the guest list. Oh, come on, Lexi said, half laughing. When I brought it up, he'd love to come. He's basically the baby's unofficial uncle already. Right. Uncle Drew. I offered to pay for half the shower expenses, transferred a few thousand to her mom, told them I wanted it to be special, and it would be. They didn't know I was funding the construction of my own stage. Meanwhile, Lexi kept glowing. She posted weekly bump photos. She cried during ultrasound appointments. She let her friends touch her belly and talk about baby names. And I stood beside her, the perfect man. People told me constantly, "You're going to be a great dad." I'd smile and nod, biting my cheek to keep from laughing. Drew came over more often now. One evening, he was helping me assemble the crib. I caught him staring at Lexi while she bent over to pick up a screw. He didn't even try to hide it. Later, as he was leaving, he patted my shoulder. "You're a lucky man, Noah," he said, grinning like a man with a secret. "She's going to be an amazing mom." I smiled back. "Yeah," I said. "You have no idea." The week before the shower, I rehearsed my toast every night. Not in front of a mirror, just in my head. I wanted it to sound off the cuff, heartfelt, steady. I knew the moment would come, a clinking glass, a spotlight, all eyes on me. I could picture it. Lexi beaming beside me, thinking she'd won. Drew standing nearby, clueless. Her whole family leaning forward, waiting for the words they expected from the father-to-be. But they weren't going to hear a thank you. They were going to hear the truth. And it would hit like a pipe bomb. I didn't sleep the night before. Just lay there staring at the ceiling while Lexi snored softly beside me. She looked so peaceful. So sure, she'd spent months weaving a perfect little web. Tomorrow, I was going to tear it down in one sentence. The morning of the shower, the house was buzzing. Lexi was glowing. Her mom was rushing around, yelling about tablecloths and mimosa pitchers. Her dad was already drinking. Her sister was live streaming the decorations. Guests started arriving by 11 a.m. People brought mountains of gifts. Diaper cakes, personalized bibs, a rocking chair. Lexi walked around with a smug smile like royalty. Then I saw Drew. He showed up late, of course. Wore a button-down shirt like he was trying to impress someone. Brought a gift bag. Gave Lexi a long, two-handed hug. She laughed a little too loudly. And I knew. He still thought this was a secret. Still thought he'd gotten away with it. That made it even better, because in less than an hour, everyone here would know. And the first bomb was about to drop. The baby shower looked like something out of a glossy magazine. Pastel balloons floated in clusters. A giant welcome baby banner stretched across the fence. There were gift tables overflowing with ribbons, boxes, and pink tissue paper. A three-tiered cake stood in the center, topped with plastic booties and sugar flowers. Everyone was smiling, except me. Inside, I was vibrating. The house was packed. Her aunts, co-workers, childhood friends, her parents' church group, even her high school English teacher. And Drew hovered around like he owned the place, hugging people, laughing, cracking jokes like the lovable side character in a rom-com. Lexi beamed at him like he was family. "He's been such a help," she told someone. "Honestly, I don't know what I'd do without him." I bet. I was on autopilot, shaking hands, thanking guests, sipping water. Just waiting. Finally, Lexi's mom stood up and tapped her glass. "Everyone," she chirped, "before we open gifts, I just want to thank you all for being here to celebrate this beautiful new life, and to ask the proud father-to-be to say a few words." Every head turned. Lexi squeezed my hand. I stood slowly, smiling, holding a glass of sparkling cider like I was about to propose. My heart pounded once, then went silent. I cleared my throat. "Thank you all for coming," I began, voice steady. "It means the world to us. The day isn't just about a baby. It's about family, about trust, about building something real." A few guests nodded. Lexi beamed. "And lately, I've been thinking about those things. What family really means. What trust looks like." My tone shifted, slightly sharper. Lexi's smile dimmed by a fraction. I took a breath. "And today, I have two very special gifts. One for the incredible mother-to-be," she lit up again, "and one for the man who's been so supportive." I turned, looked directly at Drew. His face froze mid-smirk. "I just want to say, congratulations." I raised my glass in his direction. "You're going to be a father, man." The room tilted. For a second, nobody moved. Then gasps, whispers, eyes darting between Drew and Lexi. Lexi's face went blank. What?" she stammered, trying to laugh. "What are you talking about?" I didn't answer. Instead, I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a white envelope, crisp, sealed. I walked to her and handed it over. "This," I said, "is a notarized letter from my doctor. Dated over a year before we ever met." Her hands trembled. She didn't open it. Her mom snatched it from her fingers. Her dad leaned in to read it over her shoulder. And I just stood there, watching the trapdoor swing open, sterile. Her dad muttered aloud. Vasectomy, 0 sperm count, silence. Then Drew spoke. Wait, what the hell is going on? He said, voice rising. Lexi shook her head violently. No, he's lying, he made this up. He's trying to ruin this. Her voice cracked. Her eyes were wild, but it was too late. Her father was red in the face. Her mother covered her mouth. Guests were backing away like a bomb had gone off. And Drew, he snapped. Oh my God, he muttered. You told me you were on the pill. You said it was mine, then not mine, then yours. The mask shattered. Lexi screamed, stop it, just stop. But it was over. I turned to the stunned crowd, lifted my glass one last time. To honesty, I said, and to whoever the hell's paying child support. Then I set the glass down and walked out. No shouting. No slamming doors. Just me, stepping into fresh air, leaving chaos behind me. I could still hear voices erupting behind the walls, shouting, crying, accusations. But I didn't look back. Because I'd already said everything I needed to say. And I meant every damn word. I drove home in silence. No music. No radio. Just the soft hum of the tires on pavement. I didn't feel triumphant. Not exactly. I felt clean, like I'd been carrying poison in my chest for months, and finally spit it out. The truth was a wrecking ball, and I let it swing. Lexi had built a fantasy on lies. She'd weaponized love, played pretend for a house and a future, but she forgot one thing. I was paying attention, and sometimes the quiet ones bite back the hardest. I didn't check my phone for 24 hours. Not once. No texts, no calls, no social media. Just silence. I turned it off, sat on my balcony, and watched the city lights flicker. Somewhere out there, a party had turned into a war zone, and I wasn't part of it anymore. When I finally powered my phone back on the next morning, it nearly overheated. 87 missed calls, 42 voicemails, dozens of texts. From her mother, from mutual friends, coworkers, people I barely knew. They all had questions. What happened? Was it true? Was this some kind of sick prank? And underneath it all, panic. The chaos had spread like wildfire. Apparently, the moment I left, Lexi had gone into full meltdown mode, screaming, crying, denying everything, shaking, saying it was all fake, that I had forged the report to humiliate her. But the damage was done. Her dad had read the letter aloud, word for word. People filmed it. It hit social media within minutes. By the time the cake was cut and touched, by the way, half the city had seen the clip. Guy exposes fake pregnancy at baby shower. Woman fakes paternity for house. Gets destroyed by vasectomy report. It was everywhere. The video got thousands of views in hours. Lexi tried to do damage control, claimed I was abusive, claimed I faked the document, said I was gaslighting her and she didn't know how the pregnancy happened. But nobody was buying it, because Drew confessed. That same night, cornered by half her family and 2 of her aunts. He cracked, admitted to the affair, said it had started for months into our relationship and hadn't stopped since, admitted she told him the baby was his, then changed her mind once she realized I was more financially stable. His words, financially stable. Lexi had been playing both sides, hoping one of us would stick, depending on who she could manipulate harder, and when Drew realized he was the fallback plan, he exploded. They got into a screaming match in her parents' backyard, right next to the mimosa station, and they touched gift pile. Her father ended up dragging Drew off the property and threatening legal action. Lexi locked herself in the bathroom and didn't come out for 2 hours. Eventually, guests just left, quietly and comfortably, carrying gift bags and whispers. By the time the sun went down, the whole event looked like a crime scene. Empty chairs, half-eaten food, decorations fluttering in the breeze. It was perfect. I didn't respond to any of Lexi's messages. She begged me to talk, said she was sorry, said she'd explain, that she still loved me, that we could raise the baby together anyway. She tried guilt, tried anger, threatened to tell people I abandoned her while pregnant. She even texted, "We were supposed to be a family. How could you do this to me?" To her, she really didn't get it. This wasn't something I did to her. It was something I refused to let her do to me. She underestimated how long I'd been planning, how deeply I'd memorized every lie, every twitch in her voice, every carefully chosen word. She wasn't the only one who could play pretend. A few days later, I heard from one of her friends. Apparently, Lexi had moved back into her parents' basement. Her mom was heartbroken. Her dad had gone full cold shoulder. The once favorite daughter was now the punchline of every conversation. Their social circle turned on them. People stopped showing up. Some demanded gifts back. Some sent furious texts demanding apologies. Others just ghosted her entirely. The mask had cracked, and what was underneath wasn't pretty. She stopped posting online, deleted her accounts, went silent. And Drew, he vanished too. I heard he quit his job 3 days later, took a personal leave, probably to escape the endless phone calls and Facebook tags. He's not with her. I know that much. They tried to play house with a lie. And lies don't last. Meanwhile, I called my lawyer. Had him draft a statement declaring I was not the father, never had been, and would pursue legal action if my name ever appeared on a birth certificate or support document. The letter was formal, firm, and terrifyingly clear. We sent it to Lexi, her parents, and Drew, just in case. None of them responded. Didn't expect them to. Silence can mean a lot of things. In this case, it meant surrender. The silence that followed wasn't heavy. It was peaceful. For the first time in almost a year, I woke up without pretending. No fake smiles. No long explanations. No playing house in a house that never existed. Lexi was gone. Not physically. She was still somewhere out there, probably staring at nursery wallpaper she'd never get to use. But she was gone from my life. I didn't just dodge a bullet. I dodged a nuke. People talk about red flags. I had ignored a parade of them. The emotional blackmail, the passive-aggressive guilt trips, the obsessive way she talked about our future without ever really including me. She wanted a child, a house, performance. And I was supposed to be the set piece. Instead, I burned the stage down. I started cleaning out my apartment, got rid of anything that reminded me of her. The ultrasound fridge magnet, the couple's wine glasses, the framed first Christmas together photo from Aspen. Then I opened the hallway closet. Inside were 4 giant boxes. All baby gifts. Lexi had all of them sent to my address for safety. Diaper bags, bottles, tiny socks, handmade blankets. A top-of-the-line stroller, thousands of dollars in stuff, for a child that didn't exist in my world. I stood staring at those boxes for a while. Then I called a shelter. They worked with single mothers and women fleeing domestic abuse. I explained the situation, vaguely, and asked if they could use the donations. They were stunned, said it was the biggest donation they'd received all year. They sent a van the next morning. The delivery driver, a woman maybe in her 40s, looked at me and asked, "You sure about this?" "Yeah," I said. "Somebody out there actually needs it." That felt good. Really good. With the baby fantasy gone, the house hunt evaporated overnight. The listings stopped. The bank calls ended. Her dad, who'd once been so eager to coach me through a scroll, deleted me from his contacts. And me, I still had my down payment savings, almost $60,000. Instead of a mortgage, I booked a trip, 3 months across Southeast Asia. No itinerary, no plans, just me, a backpack, and an exit door from the life I almost got trapped in. I left a note on my fridge: "You don't escape lies. You outlive them." Before I left, I got one last update. It came from Cassie, Lexi's ex-best friend, the only person from her circle still talking to me. We met for coffee. No drama. Just quiet conversation. She leaned in halfway through and said, "You know she's trying to sue Drew, right?" I blinked. "What?" Cassie nodded. "Yep. She claims he manipulated her into believing he'd raise the baby with her. Financial coercion or something. Her lawyer dropped her last week. Apparently, Lexi thought she could flip the script again, play the victim, spin the chaos into sympathy. But no one was listening anymore. Her family was done. Her friends ghosted her. Drew blocked her. And now, 6 months pregnant, she was living off her parents' dwindling patience and government assistance. There were whispers of therapy, a support group, and even more rumors about her trying to date again. "Someone new will believe me," she'd said once, according to Cassie. "Not everyone's a monster like Noah." That made me laugh. Not because it was funny, because that's what she always did, rewrote the ending. But not this time. This time, the ending was mine. I left the country 2 weeks later. No farewell party, no Instagram posts. I turned off my phone and stepped onto a plane like I was being reborn. In Thailand, I swam in emerald lagoons. In Vietnam, I ate noodles on rooftops. In Bali, I watched the sunrise from a hammock and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Freedom. Not just from her, from the version of myself that tolerated lies, that made excuses, that ignored every red flag because love was supposed to hurt sometimes. Never again. One afternoon in Ubud, I sat in a tiny cafe and opened my journal. I wrote, "Sometimes revenge is just refusing to carry someone else's weight." Then I tore the page out and left it on the table. Somewhere, maybe, Lexi was still rewriting her version of the story, but I didn't care anymore. Because I had already written the only chapter that mattered. And this time, no one else held the pen. It's been 6 months since I boarded that plane. 6 months since I walked away from a woman who thought love was a transaction. Since I exposed a lie so big, it cracked her entire world open. Since I stopped apologizing for being the only one in the room who saw through the act. People still bring it up. A friend messaged me last week with a screenshot. Read it. Pettyrevenge. Guy finds out girlfriend is pregnant, but he had a vasectomy. What he does at the baby shower, savage. Went viral again. Memes, YouTube narrations, TikTok edits with dramatic music. Everyone had an opinion. Some called me a legend. Others asked why I stayed so long, why I didn't just walk out quietly. But here's the truth. Walking away would have freed me, but exposing the lie freed everyone. Else she would have fooled next. Sometimes revenge isn't about pain. It's about clarity. And I have never been clearer. I got a letter 2 months ago from Lexi. A real one. Handwritten. Blue ink. 3 pages. She apologized. Said I'd probably never forgive her. Said she didn't expect me to. She wrote that she panicked. That when she found out she was pregnant, she saw her future slipping away and thought if she made me believe it was ours, everything would work out. She never expected I'd be the one with a secret. She wrote that her family barely speaks to her now. Her parents help with groceries. But there's no warmth. She has a baby registry no one's claimed, a crib no one helped build, and silence where the applause used to be. She said she'll raise the baby alone. She didn't ask for anything. Not money, not sympathy, not even friendship. She just ended the letter with, I told so many lies, I stopped recognizing the truth. You forced me to look at it. I hate you for that. But I also needed it. I didn't write back, not because I didn't care, but because there was nothing left to say. I donated again. Another stroller. A car seat. This time, I included a note in the box, for someone who deserves to be a parent. I don't know where that box ended up. Maybe with a woman rebuilding her life. Maybe with someone who doesn't have the luxury of manipulation. All I know is, it didn't end up with Lexi. And that's how I win. Quietly. Completely. By building something better in the wreckage she left behind. I'm back home now. Not the same apartment. I moved to a smaller place closer to downtown. Less space, more sunlight. Feels lighter. No framed couple photos. No baby gear. Just peace. And a locked drawer in my desk where I keep one thing. The original letter from my doctor. I keep it not because I need proof, but as a reminder, truth doesn't beg to be believed. It just waits. I've started dating again, slowly, cautiously. I'm honest now, brutally so. I don't sugarcoat my past. I tell them I once loved someone who almost built a life on top of my silence. Most people listen, nod, and change the subject. One woman didn't. She leaned in and said, that couldn't have been easy. But I'm glad you burned it down before it buried you. She gets it. We've had dinner 3 times. No pressure, just laughter and breathing room. Maybe nothing will come of it. Or maybe that's how real things start, quietly. Without manipulation, without applause. With truth. Sometimes I still think about the baby. Not in a sad way. Just neutrally. A life that's coming into the world because the people couldn't keep their lies in check. I hope the kid turns out okay. I hope they grow up stronger than their origin story. I hope they get a chance to become someone better than either of their parents. And I hope one day, when they ask, where's my dad? The truth finds them, too. So now I ask you, if you were me, standing in that room, holding that envelope, would you have done the same? Would you have smiled through the lies? Waited for the curtain to rise, and then exposed everything in front of everyone? Or would you have walked away quietly, and let the lie live? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear what you would have done. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought? Or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next adventure. Asterisk.